All right, so streaming started. Let's get this thing going. So right now I'm working on getting the race start. So the race start, where'd they go? Here. Let's see what the task is. All right, the race start will show up in the game view and holo map. That one's no longer there, but not the 3D map. Also gone. It will show up in the 3D map. That's exactly how I'm using it. All right. Race will show up in the 3D map. Okay, in race area and race not active, press action will start a race. So if you're close enough to a race, we have to be able to do it, or we have to be able to start the race. Pick up a cube overrides if in range. So we also have an action that if we are close to a cube and we press the action button, it's supposed to pick up that cube. Now, I don't want to force the player into a race if they are currently trying to pick up a cube. So if a cube landed in one of those areas, they have the option to take it out. And that's effectively all they can do for the action button from there until they remove them. Generally, they shouldn't get them built into there unless they have been putting them there. Okay, now start a race shows UI with option to start or cancel. The world is frozen. Pause state. We have that. Camera angle lerps to see the target and car. Okay. Cancel action button returns to drive. Start action button starts race immediately. So by action button being repeated here, that means that I plan to be able to select different items in the menu by directionals and then press the action button to switch to cancel or start the race. Race in play gets timer on screen. So we've got a few things that need to happen. In header display needs to have a timer that's going to show up. And I also need a UI for starting the race. All right, so now start race. Got some basics of what we need to do. I need some sort of symbol that's going to dedicate or identify that a race is starting here. And I think I'm going to use Blender for that. I'm also going to need GIMP just to create some dumb little texture. Okay, so we got this. Let's delete that object. I don't need camera or light. All right, next, get rid of that one. And now add, and inside of this one, I want to go to a cylinder. Okay, now I need to get rid of some of the extra stuff from here. So first off, we're gonna go tab. I've got that one, 3 to select, delete that face. And now I need the other face there. Okay, so we got this one. Now let's see about selecting all the stuff at the bottom. So let's go 1 and select there. And now we're gonna go G, Z1, enter. Okay, so G to scale it or slide it along an axis, or to slide it. Z to say that it's going to go up and down. 1 to say to move 1 meter up, or 1 centimeter, however we view this, the unit. Okay, so that seems good to me. That's all I really need. So cylinder, let's rename this. This will be called highlight. Okay, I need one more aspect inside of this. I need the center point. So let's create a center point. We'll do this by hitting tab. And now let's go add mesh. And inside of here, we're going to go with a cone. All right, that seems good. Now let's select the bottom. We're going to go tab 3, select that, S. All right. Now we're going to go with, let's go A. And now GZ1, enter. Okay, that seems reasonable. We're going to add a visual effect to this as well, so it's not just this rocket cylinder and it. All right, so now that I've got these ones, let's leave that as is. I need the UV to line up, but that's got to be important. So let's go to UV editing. What have I got? I got these two things. Let's put them on two different halves of what's going on. So first of all, let's go tab, that one. All right, tab. Now we got the individuals. We're going to select A. That goes across the top. Perfect. That's what I want. Now on this one, tab, and now this one, tab. Those go across the bottom, but I don't like the layout of that setup. I also don't need the bottom here. Delete faces. Good. Okay, so now I do need A to select all the faces, and now let's go to UV, and let's see, UV unwrap. Which one is the one to go with here? Angle based? No. UV unwrap cube projection? Close. That okay, let's go with that one. So to begin with, now let's zoom in on this. And now I need to select the objects that I need, which should all be under 1. Select that. And now G, Y. Does that use the axis there? Perfect. Okay. So now we've got all those selected together. And let's do the same thing on the bottom. SX. Sure. Okay, that one should be the halfway point. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this is the halfway point. Okay, so we got that one selected, tab, and this one selected, tab. Good. Now we're going to save this. Save, and this goes to Vigilante 41 models, and we're going to call this highlight blend. All right, so highlight blend. Now I need GIMP. There's GIMP. We're going to create a new image. No, we don't need it that big. We're just going to go with 200, 512. I don't need that much resolution on this. 256 by 256. All right, now the halfway point needs to be transparent in this one. All right, so let's go ahead and split this. All right, I need a gradient. I can just do this with a gradient. So which one was the gradient tool? I want a color. Not there. Gradient, there we go. All right, so gradient, now let's go ahead and set the gradient. Inside of this, we need transparent. Okay, there. Next, we're going to go to this one. Oh, I've got the transparent background. Let's delete that and go File, Colors. Is it Color? Layer. There we go. Transparency, Add Alpha Channel. Control A, delete. Now, I want to set the gradient, which goes all the way from where it is, from the start to the end with a gradual fade over time. Can I edit this? All right. No, other way. Thank you. All right, so now I want to align this coming down about halfway, but not completely. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, flatten. Ah, no, not flatten like that. All right, now let's put a new one in. We're going to start from here and make our way up about halfway. Perfect. Okay, now I'm going to select half of it. Do I care to select half? No, I'll just keep this as is. All right, Control E. Because we have to export as PNG, we can't edit as PNG. I still don't get why Blender did that. Like, I get that they have a market that is just using Blender files as Blender files for things like print and high resolution work. But I mean, this is like one of the best graphics applications out there for free. And it gets easily used for images like PNGs. So now inside of this one, I need installs that one now. Projects, Vigilante, assets, 41, models, there. Oh, no, textures. All right, textures. Okay, now the file name inside of this one is going to be highlight PNG. Oh, no, I want that up here. All right, that should be good enough. Now let's go build the effect inside of here. I need to create a highlight point that I can map onto one of the sides here. All right. I guess let's try it over here. I want to be able to just align it to any surface. So I want to give it the alignment tool. I don't remember if I've already built one into the code in here. Block traffic. No, game. I don't see the option inside of there. What about the other ones? PRF, editor, car physics. No, I didn't. It doesn't look like I put any of the design tools in for that. Oh yeah, let's bring up comments live and then go to there. All right, that's bringing up chats, analytics. Cool. All right, now I need the effect. So first off, let's pull the model in. Where's the model? Going up. Models. There we go. Now I need highlight, blend, so I'll just drag this in. Now let's put a scale on here. Let's go to a scale of 10 by 10 by 10. There, that seems good. Now it's going to need a material for this. Yeah, actually, that seems plenty good. I think the scale must be 1 meter out on each side. So 2 meters, that means that when I scaled it to 10, I've got 10 meters out on either side. All right, I think. Not positive. So now I need a material to show this one. We're going to create a material for highlight, create material, highlight, and this is highlight start. Now it needs a texture. So we're going to go select the texture and we're going to go, what is this? Highlight. Gotcha. Now I need this one to be alpha, transparent. I want alpha clipping. Let's go find the original image. Oh, there we go. Transparent. Receives shadows. No. I tried turning that off. All right. Base map. Now let's set the color to say something like green. And let's put this onto here now. So green. Oh, where'd that go? Highlight start goes on to highlight blend. Hey. Oh, there we go. We got two separate objects. They both need this. All right. So highlight. And highlight. Oh, wrong object there. I put it on the same time. I put that on both. All right, highlight. All right, next, I need that to show up on both sides. So let's do that. Over here on a cone, we got highlight start on there. Lighting, it doesn't need anything. Off. Highlight over here, off. All right, now for both of them, the material. I go to the material for highlight start. And in this one, we need both sides. So both. Oh, interesting. Okay, so let's now start applying the color. I don't want metallic. Oh, is that going sideways? Oh, and the selection's the opposite direction. All right, so it's set up to both. That's not the direction that I want. Let's put the image into the other side and flip those things around. Oh, I can just go into Blender. Let's just do that. Blender. There we are. All right, so now I'm going to select these ones and let's go highlight. And now S, Y, -1. Sorry. S, Y, -1. No. S, Z. Okay. Save it. Back into Unity. There we go. That flipped that one. Now let's work on the cone. Why is the cone not getting any highlight at all on here? Edit high. Oh, I dragged over edit highlight. That's the wrong one. Highlight start. That one is a little bit on the intense side, but why am I getting a sideways? I don't want this much transparency here. Okay, we're going to change which type of material we're using because I don't need this as, I'm using it as lit. This shouldn't be lit. All right, so where'd the material go? Highlight start. Now over here, we're going to change this to unlit. So URP unlit. Good. That's what I'm looking for. All right. Now the top one, I need to bring that down more. So let's change this out. Where did the top go? We're going to go to tab and select the middle one. And now tab. And now we're going to go A. No, oh, I think they should grab both. All right, tab. Yeah, just that one. All right, tab. Now we got that. So from this point, I need to make sure that the texture gets to the halfway point. Hey, come on. GY. Like right about there. And let's go to the bottom here. That highlight is standing out too much. So let's go GY, bring it up to like here. Yeah, we'll try here. Save it. Let's see what happens. That should bring the top of this down more. Yeah, there we go. And that cuts into the world around it, so that just means my placement has to move around better. So there, I've got that. And if I drive around, I can see this from other angles. However, I think ideally this just needs to be set on surfaces and scaled so that the size matches what I'm looking for. All right, that gives me a model now. I do want the auto align because it's a pain to have to align this. Wait a minute. Not what I'm looking for. Oh, was there an auto align? I feel like Unity might already have that. Let's do a check. Unity align model to surface in scene view. Is there a hotkey for this? Hotkey. I don't want to snap it to the floor. I could use vertex snapping for that. But I do want to recall if there was anything for quickly aligning. Okay. Shift control. All right. Shift control. Not what I'm looking for. Control Z. Okay, that just aligns it to the surface, but it doesn't affect rotation when I'm doing this, which is what I want. I want the rotation. Do you have something in here that talks about rotation? No. against object normal rotation. Suppose I could go to hotkeys while that's loading up, and let's see there. I don't want to just rotate, so Control Shift. Control Shift allowed me to move an object aligned. Control Shift, and that's Control Shift F to do that one. I don't want to lock the view. Selection, assets, animation. No. Yeah, that's vertex snapping. Vertex snapping. But what about rotation? Surface snapping mode. Select the move tool W. In tool settings, snap to surface. Okay, top left of view. Let's check this out. We have the move tool selected. That's grid. That's incremental snapping. It's not what I want. Angular snapping. Woo, do we now have this? No. What does this do? Toggles angular snapping on and off. This incremental angular snap size. That's okay. I'm going to go with a tool for this. Now, I believe I had one already in Unity, so let's go over to here. My YouTube. Go to YouTube. There. And now let's head over to my channel. YouTube Studio. All right. Welcome to my channel. All right, inside of here we got live, no shorts videos, and inside of the videos I want to go to snap, align tool. Is this the one? I think it is. All right, let's go out to it. Inside of here, source code. Yes, that is exactly what I want. Okay, Control C, and I believe that there is a couple small glitches that were in it, but let's just head over to it. .NET Fiddle. All right, so I posted this code earlier. This lets us snap. Now, do we deal with rotation? We've got the up, we're transferring normal to rotation, so we do translate the object's position. All right, so now let's copy everything in here. And what is this called? Designer. Let's change its name from that. Designer's not bad, but I guess rotary snap. Let's call it snap. All right, class scripts. Create, and inside of here, script, snap, get into here. Starting up in another window, I'm waiting to pull it over. Now what just happened? There it is. Oh, I've got it hooked up to Visual Studio again. I had to switch it over because there was a tool that I needed to test and I haven't switched back yet. I will do that later. All right, so I need designer. Where is designer? What is this? Why am I... No, I don't want to do anything there. Car snap. Okay, this is it. We go up to this one. We're going to go to the top. And we're going to say snap. And then down, I need to make a designer for snap. Yeah, sure, do it. All right, and that one. Oh, I hate this. That's the AI crap talking. How do I turn this off? You know what? I could do that. I could also just switch over to back over to Rider rather than bother with turning off the AI inside of this. All right, let's close that. Return to Unity. There we go. Clear. I don't need those errors happening continuously. I need project settings or preferences. All right, so tool, rider, regenerate, and oh, yeah, let's also just put that script on here. So that one is called snap. Okay, we want to align rotation and align position. Perfect, that's it. Now, if I drag this around, why is that? That looks wrong. Oh, yeah, I need to select a different object. What's it doing? Oh, that is right. Okay. So, yeah, that just worked. All right, select the object, drag it around to say here. Okay. Ah, yeah, that's one problem with this current version of the design tool. I guess we'll just put it right there. That leaves it. Right now, it's not hotkey based, and I did actually generate a more hotkey based approach in one of my other samples, and I'll have to find the code for that. All right, let's go to play. Collider's off, right? I just want to see how this looks in the game. Start. Okay, I could definitely see that when we started up. Hey, leave me alone. All right, I am inside of it, and it's got a very clear emphasis that I have entered inside of this, so that works for me. All right, now I need a script that marks the endpoint. I need an endpoint on this as well. I could mark it in red, but I feel like it should just be a different color, like maybe purple. All right, so let's go to stop. Now, I'll put you right there and select something else there. Now I do need to duplicate this. Control D, and now we've got the other one. And now we're going to drag this one over to, say, here. That'll work. Basically, the endpoint should be in sight of it. So that way I can orient the camera and set up it to be able to see both points. I want them to see the car, the starting point, and the ending point. All right. Now, to do this, I also need to set up a child location, but I do need an endpoint highlight. So highlight start, Control D, and we're going to do highlight end. All right, end, and we'll select, what color are we going to select? Purplish? Sure. And now the second one needs to be the purplish. So highlight end, there, highlight end, there. That doesn't glow all that much. What is that going to look like in game? I suppose I can make it stand out a little bit more later. Okay, we got start. Oh, that does glow up. That does glow pretty well in here. Now, once I'm inside of this, I can't see the end point from here. I could see it when I was getting up to this, but I'm not supposed to see it until I'm in here. All right. Now, I suppose one thing for the race start is that I should set up the direction and location I'm going to be set up to start with, or when the race starts. Now, that I should also have an alignment that says, here's where the camera needs to look from. So inside of this, I'm going to pause. And a lot of this is just literally, let's just go like right here. Okay, now I need a child object, stop. So right over here on highlight blend, I do need to put a child object on this. We're going to say, mm, do I want this to be here? I just need to emphasize its connection point from outside. So it shouldn't be part of the prefab. All right, yeah, that's correct. It should not be part of the prefab. Prefabs are going to highlight the items. Is there, here's an interesting question. Does Unity, what is this? Don't let a field get saved to the prefab. What would this be? Attribute. Is there an attribute to do that? So inside of here, prevent prefab from being changed in prefab instance, prefab field. Yeah, that's exactly what I want to solve here. They didn't say solved though. All right. I made an editor once that would only draw parts of itself. Okay, sorry. Okay. Immutable instance on validate. Let's expand that out a bit. Okay, it's a mono behavior. This float cannot be changed. So on validate prefab, we get the type if it's prefab instance. And so if we changed that setting, that's not how I want this to be. All right, well, we'll just start with this as is. We need a start script and a finishing script. So we'll put both scripts in for right now. Let's go to here, create C# script, and this one will be called race start. What is all this? Import error build version. Why are you complaining about all this? What the heck is going on? All content on the disk has a modification time. So you've got some difference in the time and you keep running a repeated complaint? Maybe you could figure out that those two files are still the same difference from the last time that you executed this error. Do I need to actually shut down? Oh, let's try reload. Maybe that will fix it. All right, that looks better. Where'd the rest of that go? There. All right. So we got these two objects. I need the start and I need the race end. So let's go into the code. Oh yeah, and this should load up Rider this time. Pause start, pause menu, car action game. It didn't bring up the actual file. Oh, there we go. Race start. Thank you. Now I need the file. Show me the connection. Thank you. Create a new one. Control D. Does that work in here? What did that do? Okay, we're going to close that. Control CV. And this is going to be race end. All right, so we got both of them. Now, what? Yes, sure, whatever. I don't care. All right, we'll put one over here and one over there. What did this just do? No, like in this selection. All right, I've just got some stuff to get used to in there. All right, so we have race start, race start. This one is race end. All right, so race end is marked out. I don't care to do any other code inside of this. So now I do need to reference the race end. So that's going to be public race end. All right, that lets me target the end. I do want to do a gizmo draw on here. So void on gizmo, on draw gizmos. And now we're going to say if end, then I need draw dot line, and this one is going to be, we'll draw a dashed line. Sure, that looks good. Now draw from transform dot position, comma, transform dot, oh, not transform, end dot transform start dot position. So we're connecting a line just to show in the editor tooling exactly which one this is connected to. Now we need what? Dash? What is dash? That's going to be the spacing between the dashes, maybe? All right, so spacing, this is going to be dash, and we'll put in 1F for now. This should be going quite a distance, so we'll see lots of little dashes. Next, what do we need? Gap. Oh, okay, gap. Sure. 1F. This is the spacing between. And then finally a color. So color, doesn't let me do a transition color. That's okay. We'll just set the one color, which will say color dot, and what should I pick? Chartreuse. Okay. So that's all I needed for right now. I need the start and end to be called out, and I need that line to show up. Oh, and this should be onDraw Gizmo selected. I don't want to see all those lines connected normally. So this green is pretty much a chartreuse as is, so it makes sense for the line connection color to be out there, or about the same. Okay, so now we've got the, what is this one over here? We're going to go race start, and this one will be race end. Now for race end, we're just going to do race end. Got it. And then for this one, we need race start. And now we need to put the race end in here. Done. All right, we have done that. Ooh, if I right click, yep, Control Z, Z, there. Race start, and let's drag that one in there. I do need that hotkey form that, well, oh, I'll disable snap. Perfect. Okay. Well, not perfect, but better than it could have been. Let's disable snap on there as well. Yeah, I can move around freely now. Perfect. Oh, is there a hotkey to enable disable? Well, that would be for a child element or child component. So no, not in any useful or meaningful way to me at the moment. Race start, we do need the race end. Save it. So we got the dotted line. Now, what would be really useful is if that had scale information from the camera, because that dashed line completely changes its meaning when you get to a large or a small one. All right. Use package gizmo callbacks instead. You are trying to draw functions from within on. Okay, so how do we do that? Command builder not asserting. Gizmo callbacks instead. I don't care. Let's use this as is for now. It's not going to be perfect, but it'll work. Sort of like Control Shift B works over here. It's not perfect, but it works. All right, next on this one. So we got the point from start to end. Now inside of here, I'm going to select race start. We got that. Oh, I need to create prefabs for these. So we're going to drag them in now. Prefab race start and prefab, whoops, prefab for race end. There we go. That does still seem kind of dark for that material. So highlight end. Can I brighten this up a little bit? Let's go to surface. We're going to change the color setup and make it a little, I don't want it to disappear. Yeah, if I go to blue, there's this tone where it just kind of disappears into here. That's definitely not what I want. No alpha. What's going to stand out in color? Ooh, that stands out pretty well in color. And ideally, I should have symbols of some type on this as well. All right, so we got start and finish. If I select this one, we see the line connecting them. Now I need more code on race start. So race start, we need to be able to tell if the player is close to it or not. So we need to identify the player. Now the player is also, I need a locator service. I'm just going to throw a locator service into here too. So let's go baked traffic, drop point, freight. Freight is probably small. No. Game time. There we go. Now let's take this, Control D. No, I don't want to duplicate the line. I want that, Control CV. And the new one is going to be locator. All right. Now on this, I'm not using anything on the locator that needs to be anything special yet, so I'm just going to use a basic locator. Mono behavior does not need to be, might as well. Let's also throw in the code that triggers the change when we are escaping the system. So that's going to be in designer, I believe. Designer traffic data? No. What is that? Traffic designer. Traffic designer. All right. Traffic designer should have a special function on here that executes. Where was that? Traffic designer. No, it's an event. The save state, was that what I was doing? Save load system. This one had a response, runtime initialized. There we go. And on this one, we're changing for this mode. Now, do I need one for exit? I don't think so. Race start. Okay, we got race start. Now we're going to put in the extra code here. There. So in the editor application, we are, oh, and if, perfect. Okay. Now inside of this, it does need to get this extra information. So we're going to do Alt Enter, and import missing references. Done. Okay, we don't call quit. We're going to handle the code. So basically, this means that we've just exited play mode. Now, why was that important? Now I've forgotten why that's important. The locator service is what needed it. We didn't need it here. Control X. Where's my locator? Locator. This one needed it. There. Run and start. And now we got this stuff. Control or Alt Enter. There. It's not going to be quit. We do need the static state of the instance of this to be available at any point in time, but locator should just be a static class. So public static class. And if we are exiting the play mode, oh, I don't want to have to build all this stuff out. I guess I'll just do it on awake. All right. So inside of here, play mode state changed, and now we've got private static. In this case, I need the dictionary. And inside of here, we need a type. So we need type information. Type in gluon. What? No, I just system.type. And then we need object. Yeah, I will set this up as a straightforward system on this one. So object, it could be anything. And this is locations. New color. Why would you suggest that? There we go. All right, so inside of this one, we're just checking to see, oh yeah, we want to connect to this to see if the play mode state changes. We don't care about what it changes to. So now in this one, we're just going to go to locations.clear. All right, that resets it. Now I also need the functions for this. Public static set and t public static void set t, and the type is going to be t value. All right, so now in this one we're going to say locations if locations dot contains key type of t. Then we will do a different line. This one needs to be locations t type of t equals, and in that one's going to be value. Else locations dot add, and inside of here we need type of t comma value. Okay, that gets it. Next, public static t get t. All right, now we'll just check this one. If locations contains it, then we are going to return t. Okay, we're converting an object to the type. Any conversion will be trusted implicitly until we actually try it at runtime. All right, so now locations, if it doesn't exist, then we are going to return default t. All right, that's it. So inside of here, we have a basic locator. It's got a dictionary where it's going to store all the locations of each one of the instances that we set. This, anytime the play mode state changes, we clear it out. So now we need to start adding items to this and then obtaining them. So constructors are where I would typically add it, but we are clearing the objects out. So awake and start. Do I want to do events on this? Do I have a cleaned up locator from another project I can just grab? Let's do that. I don't want to have to rebuild the whole thing because that can take a little while, and I do want the observable behavior in it right now. So let's go over to here, LG, not share, storage. This should have backup projects. Have to wait for the drive to boot itself up. Stagnant storage. Work. No, nothing. Delete. Back up. Stagnant. Oh, project sold. There we go. Now, in this one, I'm going to do a search for locator. Locate the locator. All right, I'll let that run in the background for a minute, and I'm going to skip the rest of this one. We've got some locator stuff going on right now, and hopefully that should find one inside of the projects. But it has to work, search through like all of the library code and everything. I'm going to change it to the locator.cs. Hopefully it'll recognize that it is searching for a file. Am I able to emphasize that? File colon. You know what? I'm going to search and find out. All right, let's see. Windows, Explorer, no items matched my search. Locator, star.star. Windows Explorer. Okay, we're going to go into this, and what have we got? Dropbox backup, share. All right, inside of here, share, storage, stagnant. Oh, backup by one. Project sold. Okay, so inside of here, I should have a locator service in one of these. Oh, this is actually much more recent. I very well don't have that. Okay. Possibly in Devious 5 design, backlog, nothing. It's just documentation for now. Projects old. This is not my old projects. No. That does pose a little bit of a problem. Dropbox backup, probably nothing inside of here. Oh, actually, locator. Devious locator project. I have a project for that? All right, locator.cs. Oh, and this is one where I added a whole bunch of extra boilerplate copyright stuff at the top. So this is probably one of my more clean versions of it. Perfect. Let's take that. Right click copy. And just open up in Visual Studio. All right. Granted, free of charge. Anyone's welcome to copy and use that one exactly as they wish. But I think this one had the as is, and it's not CC0, it just wants this copyright notice. Okay. We're going to replace this with our current one. Locator instance cleanup. Wait, what is this? Is this tests? Okay, class locator. We've got the locator. Add component locator instance cleanup on destruction. What is this one? All right, let's find locator instance cleanup. Locator instance cleanup. There we go. Open file location. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. Just an on destruction for tests, I guess. All right, locator service. Let's create an additional file here. Save that. And then this one. Refactor this into a separate file. Let's go to here, right click on the scripts, add class interface, class. Okay, now I need the file contents, which is here. Let's open it up in here, Control AKC, and now let's go Control AV. Done. Now that's under devious, and then what is the rest of this system under? Devious.vigilante. We'll just rename the code or the location to that. Namespace, devious vigilante. Locator is in. Sure. Why are you complaining about that now? Oh yeah, because I lost that one. that should put the name back. Okay, I don't see the error anymore. Perfect. All right, so now I've got my observable locator service. I assume that's what this one is. I've got constructors, I've got activators. This one seems more advanced. Locator service cleanup now. Save load system. Don't need. I do need the car. The car player, the action. One of them should be able to identify that this is the car that I want. So we have car. This controls the physics. Which one? The one with the input is the one that should be setting it. I guess I can create another script that just marks which one it is. All right, so I don't need that screen up there anymore. I do need Unity up. Now, where's my car? Car has a car script, has car action, and Unity starter, which I don't do anything with yet. We have map view, car action, car driver. Car driver, there should only be one car driver, period. Okay, that one works. This emphasizes that it's the car. It knows. I'll put this in here. Ideally, a separate object might be more explicit. It has a different purpose for what I'm doing here. But on enable and update, let's do an awake. A start. Yeah, awake is fine. Public void awake. And inside of here, I want locator dot set. And so this object is now available that we're going to set the car, and that's going to be this dot car reference. Yes, perfect. So this already has a reference to the car, and it's the only one that's going to be the actual player. So we have now just set car. If we want to know car, we've got it. Actually, this makes sense as to why I would want a different object, because then I could emphasize that object and hold a reference to car, hold a reference to whatever else I need from the player. Whatever, this will do for now. All right, so I have the car. That gets set into locator service, theoretically, assuming this works. Now I need the, what do we have? Game time race start. Where's race start? There's race start. All right, so in race start, we're going to put an awake on here as well. So first off, public car player. Now, public private void awake. And now inside of here, I'm going to go to locator dot observe. And when ready, we're going to say, oh, the value needs to be in here. So this is going to be V. What's it complaining about? All right, I'll just call this as a function then for now. Player equals V. That should be it. What is observe complaining about? And type arguments cannot be inferred from this usage. Okay, so action T. Okay, then let's get rid of this one. Delete. And we're just going to say set player. Really? Why? What am I doing wrong with my observe example? It's been a while since I've used the locator, but that doesn't mean I'm doing something wrong in this line. Set player. So observe set player, it should be setting the function. We want the object to be passed through to it. We don't necessarily need the type. So from this one, the arguments method, what else have we got? Light bulb. car? Is that what it's asking for? T? Okay, something is screwy in that, and I can't remember how to actually set the function right now. What am I missing? Why do I not know this one? All right, locator service. Where is my code for it? Um, Not there. Not there. Now I have no idea where that went. So do I still have a copy of Visual Studio open? I do. There it is. Right click and open File Explorer. There we go. I had killed the File Explorer, so I no longer knew where it was. Tests, locator tests. Thank you. Let's open this one up. So now I need the observe function. So let's go over to here, observe. There we go. Locator. Locator.set, locator.observe. What was I doing? Oh, I didn't call out the type. That's what it was complaining about. Okay. Got it. Thank you. Observe car. There. Done. Which also means that I can have that inside of the code, but I still want a way to be able to unobserve it. All right, but set player, throw new implementation. Now, in this one, we need to set the car. So player equals obj. We'll call this car. Okay, now at this point, the game should be ready. Race start. We want it to know what the player is, so I'm just going to say that it is disabled to begin with. And then we need to mark that it is enabled. So awake. After we set the locator, we set the observable, then we're going to say set player. Oh, that could execute at the same time, which means that we would kill the setup. Okay, this dot enabled equals false. Okay, that's fine. Now, player equals car. This dot player equals car. 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 Do I even need that? No, I just need that. All right. This dot player equals car, and then we're also going to say this dot enabled equals true. Okay, now I need an update. We need to be able to determine when the player is close enough to this one. So we're going to need some information inside of here. So not down there, up here. To begin with, end and car. When we're driving, we are regularly going to be checking what that end point is, but that's going to be handled on the car itself, not from the racer. So the race end is going to be rare information. Car will be more common information. This one should be the first one up in the list. Just as a consideration on your code, when you put the parameters up at the top, the first 64 bytes of space will generally be loaded when you are accessing the race object. Or at least if you take the ones that you're going to be putting the most commonly, especially if they're within the first 64 bytes, and put them up at the top. That way, when you access one, you likely are getting the other ones that you need too. So if you just start sorting that from the beginning, 8 bytes for object references, then you should be able to get a slightly faster access to your code, just because your memory is a little bit better aligned. If the whole thing fits under 64 bytes, then doesn't matter. Okay, car player. So we got the player and we got the race, and we disable the object until it is actually, we disable the component until it is actually ready to be used. So set player, we now have a player on the update. We want to be able to detect the distance from that player. Do we want to detect it from here? Or this would probably be the, it would probably be more effective to have an object on the actual, whatever. I'm going to skip that. We're getting into memory systems. I just need this to run. All right, set player enabled, true. We've got the player, now we need the update. So private void update. All right, now on this one, I need to detect the distance between the values. So we're going to check the distance. I'm going to put that one here. Public float safe start distance. We have a couple other pieces of information we're going to need to know. We're going to need to know public transform camera start angle. Public transform. The camera start angle is where the camera should appear once the race starts, and also once the we see the car, and we want to take control of that camera so that we can see the car, we see the starting point, and we see the end point. So we need to identify where that is. We got the camera starting angle. We also need what is another thing that we need? We got the safe starting distance. We got the camera starting angle. Oh, car start position. Car start uh transform. It's the whole thing. We not the scaling, but we need the rotation and the position. All right, so now that we've got those ones, during the update, we need to check the distance, which we need to, we have the player safe distance. We're going to say if we need the car to be able to be notified that this is there. So the action system needs to be responsible for knowing about us. The action system is also only player related. So the action system is probably a better spot than car driver. All right, I will switch that over in just a moment. If, but we need to check distance. So if, let's see, vector3 distance between player dot position comma get component player dot transform dot position comma, and we need to know the new vector3. No, I just want enter so I can go to the next line. We need this one for, it's not end. Oh, car position. Did we just use the car position? Yeah, we did. So the other one is ours, transform dot position. So that's how far we are away, or the car is from the center of this particular offset. Let's give it a starting variable of 20. That default size was set to 10 meters, so, 10. We should also have a signal that shows up to indicate that we are within range to trigger it, to start it. Okay, so now distance, that gives us the distance, and if that is greater than, less than, safe start distance. All right, so we are within safe starting distance. Let's put, all right, player is within safe starting distance. The player handler, or the player, the car, should have some type of script associated with it that manages this information. It's going to need to know the distance. It's going to need to know where its target is. It's going to need to understand what state we're in. This object shouldn't be maintaining our state throughout the entire gameplay. All right, so now let's go to, we'll need to create a new object for that. Not physics car. Well, that's where I'm using it here. Add class interface, and we're going to call this one car. What is this? Car racing. Car race. Sure. All right, so we got car race, and now car race is going to become a mono behavior. This manages an active race. It uses information from. Why are you just popping up with this stuff now? Go away. It uses information from race start and race start / end. Okay, so inside of this, we should have that information readily available. So let's just say public race start, public race end. Okay, so we've got the ending point, the starting point, and the ending point. We also need additional information. Are we in a race? So racing state. Let's create an enum for this. Public enum racing state. And this is going to be none. So nothing's going on equals 0. This is not flagged, so we'll just be using the values, or we'll just be typing in the numbers from 1 through whatever. All right, so none in range equals 1. In race UI, race start UI equals 2. Race starting equals 3. Race running equals 4. Race end UI. Equals 5. All right, I do believe that that is it. So So now inside of here, I also need to know the state that we're currently in, and that state's going to be vital. So we're going to say public racing state. Okay. So we have public racing state, race start, race end. What time? 11 o'clock. So far, race end we only need for location, but we'll get to there and add more code. Now, to begin with, our state should be set to racing state none. Now, we're going to say public void update. This needs to know about the car. Car race will be next to it, so we do need to know that one. So public car. All right. If we need to know the player car. No, we are the player car. This will already be attached to it. I'll just manually set this one in the prefab. So now, public void update. If this dot state equals racing state none, then here we want to evaluate, are we now within range of a starting position? Now, in order to determine this, we don't actually have a location on this. This one should be setting up the car for car race. and car race is what should be made public in this case. Car race is the only one being used, not car itself. So let's make the locator service public void awake private. Excellent. So now on this one we have this dot end. No. Okay, so during the awake we have the car race, we have the car. We want the locator service to effectively know this one, and I already put that up there on car driver. So we're just going to grab the same information right here, Control X. And over here, I'm going to paste it into this because we're not using the awake function here anymore. That's just fine. We don't use anything else from that change. Okay, so car reference is not car, it's just car. So we're setting the car based off of this object, the car race. That is going to be attached to the car prefab for the racing car, for the player car. All right, this dot state equals racing state none. So if we are not in a state, I'm just going to leave the states publicly visible. Okay, I have a little bit of a confusion in my design as to whether or not this object, where certain pieces of the code need to exist, whether it should be in car race or whether it should be in, where was it? The start, race start. Because race start is aware of whether or not the player is close to it. So I guess in this one, we need to check the player. So let's do this. We'll first check to see, does the player have, or is the player in a state where getting updated on this information is useful? So for start, it only matters if they currently don't have one. No, let's just make a list. We'll have every single one of these be referenced by the car. There's not going to be that many of them. There will be like maybe 20 or 30 of these things. Okay. So back over to car race. So car race does need a list of all of the race starts. So public list race start, because we just need to tell on its setup how close we are to it. All right, so list race start. Race starts equals new. There. And we're not going to set the car. We're going to set the car race. Control C, V, and V. There. This. It's just this. All right, now another spot in the code was using this. I believe that was race start. Is that what it was? Yeah, in the awake, we are setting observable to locate car, and in this case, it is race car, or car race. Car race. All right, so we got the car race. This is no longer going to be that one. We're just going to call it, oh, yeah, I need the race. So we're observing race, and we're going to set this to set car race. Do I need to know that one from here? No, I need to notify it. Okay, different story in here. So we're going to get rid of this. We don't need the update in here. We don't need to set the car race. We don't need to know that information. We're going to get rid of it. The information will flow the opposite direction. It will be the car race that is observing it from here. It does need to know the information, like where the camera is supposed to be, the safe start distance, and the end, but it'll be the other side processing it. Okay, on Gizmo's draw will still show us the connection to the race end. And now on this one, we're not observing. Yes, we are observing, but we're just waiting for that one to become available. And so car race, that's then going to be CR. There. And now CR dot race starts dot add this. Perfect. Is that? No, leave it. Um, okay, so car race. We now have a list of all of these that will show up. So the way the locator service works is we're setting an observable, and that basically means that as soon as the car race comes online, it's going to execute this function. So we're going to add ourself to the race car list. That goes in on awake. I believe that's going to be editor safe for starting and stopping and restarting. But oh yes, some of that stuff is changing in Unity 6, or like Unity 6.5 or something like that. Probably the version I'm on, and we'll find out what those are and then fix them as we go. All right, but we've added the car race to it. Next, car race. So we've got that. Now we need to start checking the state that we're in. If state this dot state equals none, uh, then we want to check find closest. All right, so for each, do I do a for each? Do I do this every single time? Yeah, I guess so for now. It just needs to work. All right, race start. With all of these, can I just grab the positions? All of the race start positions are static. All the race start positions are static. Okay, that's perfect. Public list, vector 3. The start positions don't move, and so I can store a local list that makes this a lot faster. Race start positions equals new, and public float distance. I'll set the distance on this one. Car race is the one that should be dictating that. No, each one of those ones, they have their own starting radius, but whatever. I'll make it a design standard. Radius. And this one equals 10 by default. We're going to ignore it on the other side. So over in race start, F12, let's get rid of this one. We just need to, for it to know its information. All right, get rid of that and just clean that up a little bit. Perfect. Car race. Okay, so we got radius. That's the radius start. Now we got the radius start positions. Let's put in a function to make sure that we're handling the setup of this. Public void add race start. And now that's race start, and we'll call it start. So now race starts dot add, and that's going to be start. And then we're going to have race start positions dot add, and this is going to be start dot transform dot position. Excellent. So the indexes will match. That's what lines us up. So find the closest. We're going to say float distance equals find the smallest. Okay. Oh, this should also have another check. If, what is it? Race start positions dot count is equals 0, then we're going to exit out of this now. There's nothing to do. Now, if race, okay, so we have race positions. Now let's start going through them. We need to know the index. So 4, and the upper is going to be rsp.count I++. So we're going through each one of them to find the closest one. We do need a float that's going to hold on to this. So float distance equals 0, comma, no, equals float dot max. So we start with the maximum, and we also are going to need to store the index. So index int index equals 0. No, equals -1. All right, so now we have distance. We do have a safety check on this, an early exit. If the distance is ever less than the radius, then we are within range of that, and we don't need to check any other ones. So it's technically not closest we're trying to find. Find overlap. Find overlapping position. All right, distance equals vector 3 dot distance. And inside of this one, what do we have? We have distance. From there, we need the distance between RSPI, comma, and the other one is going to be my position, transform dot position. Okay, so we're going to check the distance between those. And now we got the distance, we're going to say if, yeah, we don't need to store a distance. We don't need to store an index in this. We're just checking to see flat out if this is there. So float distance, we grab the distance. Now, float distance, so here we're going to find if distance is less than, what are we in? Radius. We're going to need to know the index of the item that we're looking at right now. So index should be up here. So public int race index equals -1. All right, so if it's less than radius, is that what I put? Radius, yes. Excellent. Then race index equals I. We're also going to return after this. Ooh, actually break. Now return is fine in this case. What's going to happen is once we get into range of this, we can then press the action button, but there's no reason that the player should be pressing the action button at that same frame that they enter into it. So it's fine to wait 1 frame to respond to that, because they wouldn't have even seen it by the time that we were reacting to it. All right. So return, yeah, that's fine to return. Race index. So now we got the race index set to I. We need to change the state. So this dot state equals, and inside of here it is in range. Okay. Once we are in range, then we're effectively done with this one. So we've got the if state. The next one, if this dot state equals racing state in range. So we believe that we are currently in range of one of the starting points. We need to detect if we have exited that, but we already know which one we are close to. So at this point, I'm just going to trust that race. Why is race index never set? Did I create an index? Race index is set, but I don't use it. Is that why it's complaining? It is assigned, but it is never used. Okay, that is true. All right, so inside of this, in the racing state, we know we have the list of starts. We're going to check for its comparison against the racing start position. So let's get a distance. Well, we'll just do a check. If float, no, if vector3 dot distance is between what? Between RSP race index and what was the other one? Transform dot position is greater than and that's going to be radius. If it is greater than the radius, then we are going to reset its state. So this dot state equals, not equals equals, just equals none. We have now exited the range. So we're outside of the racing element. Vector 3 distance, racing distance. We have now set this. What time is it? All right, I'll be on for maybe another 20 minutes. Okay, this dot state. Racing value none. We set the racing state. This dot state. Okay, so distance, we've set the distance, we evaluated that we have none. Do I need to change any of the other settings here? Because I don't think I do. On these ones, no, we don't care about them. We're just sorting through all of them when we enter this. And then when we exit it, we're going to reset what the race index is. So we can ignore anything else from here and just return. All right, so this effectively means player has moved away from start point. Player is still in range. In this case, we do need the action. We need to notify the action system that it can react to this now. So I'm just going to create a state, or I'm going to create a variable inside of it, car action. Car action is what was handling the input action reference. So this one should be responding to it. I should have a state inside of here. Now we do have a check. If we don't have freight, we're going to check to see if the freight can get to it. So if we don't have freight, it's going to check. Now, I do need to put a little bit more complexity into here to identify that we now have the ability to do something in addition to reacting to freight or picking up freight. But for now, should I have an enumerator on here? No, Boolean statements, because we can check both the car. So I'll just put a single Boolean. Public Boolean. This one should be race in progress. No, not race in progress. This is can start race. So if we press the action button while we are within range of a race starting point, then it should bring up the UI for it. That should be on the actual UI to handle, but I think I'll just have this one deal with it. The car action deal with the initial buttons, but it'll pass the instructions back off to the car race function. All right, which means this needs to know about car race and car race needs to know about this. Personally, I don't see a problem in code with cross-referencing objects. I know a lot of people have a mentality that the objects can't be there or they can't see each other or understand each other. Even if they are connected, they should be doing it through like events and stuff like that. And I used to do that. But quite frankly, we do that all the time. We have two pairs of functions sitting in the exact same class and they are cross-referencing each other. They are either calling each other or they're messing with each other's data, and we call that just fine. So this is the exact same thing. We have a very well-known connection between the two, where in most cases the data has no care in the world about each other. But what's the point of actually putting it through adding an interface, adding the extra layers of this where we have the properties and and we're setting the values if we're just going to be accessing the two objects back and forth anyway? I don't have any intention to extend car race into other objects. I don't have this same thing with car action. So I'm just going to cross connect them. All right, so in that case, I do need to know public. What is this one? Car race. Car race. And same thing on this one, or on the other one, car action. So over here, it needs to know about car action. Not from there. All right, from down here. Public car action. Car action. There. Player is still in range. So the player is still in range. We do want to mark that they are actually able to start. So that is over here, can start race. So inside of this one, we're also going to say, what was that? This dot car action dot can start race equals true. And when we exit this, it should say this dot car action dot can start race equals false. There. So I do have to know a little bit about the state that's going on inside of there just so I can notify it what's going on. I could use signals. I could throw Zenject in here or create my own signal system and use that, but meh. Honestly, that would probably make things easier, but I don't want to put the extra coding and effort in at this point in time. All right, now the player is still in range, so let's respond to that. The player is still in range, and we should be reacting to can start race. We don't do anything here if they can start the race. We do nothing here. Can start race will offload the action to us uh, when needed. Okay, so that one I should be able to test and have like a Boolean value or even just the enumerator change. Okay, so in that one we would be going to a start race. So let's create a function in here. We're going to create a function and we're going to call it public void start race. Okay, now we've got the start race in here. That's what this one is on. So start race, if we have it, then we should be setting it. So let's go down into here. Public has freight system in this one. We have no freight, find it nearby. If there is none, then we return. However, in this point, this is where I don't want to return yet. I'm still going to have the return function in and exit out early, but we have no freight. And so now we're going to check if, what was the option? If that one was can start race. If can start race, and we basically have clicked the action button at this point, then we now have this dot car race dot start race. That's it. Okay, if we start the race like this, we are now also going to say we need to clear out that statement, that state that's in there. So this dot car action dot can start race, no, equals false. It can no longer start the race. We also need to change our state to this dot state equals and in race start UI. Perfect. That's exactly what I needed it to be right now. Okay, so we change our internal state. That effectively should be a solid enough test right now. Car race needs to be added. I have a couple things that I need to add to the car now, so let's go make sure those things are in here. That's still building. All right, now I need the car. I'm not using this at all. Let's remove it. Overrides, apply all. Now I need to add car race. Car race is in here. Now it does have a few things, like its starting state has none. I'm not using the start and end positions yet. Oh, no. Yeah, I'm not using those yet. Once I come in contact with one, that function is supposed to set these now, but I'm not using them yet. The car is this one right here, car, And we also need car action, which is right here. Race starts, we're going to be storing a list, so we should see that list build up. And the race index should get set. So if the code works, I should be able to try it. And I should see the state change here to indicate that I'm ready to use it. Let's move that over. Let's hit play. So I'm watching the state on race as I move up and into the range of this thing. Start. Okay, so right now I am still set to none. Good. Now let's move over. And there's a chance I could have the radius doubled on this, so I'm going to move in slow. Okay, no, still marked as state equals none. Now let's move in a little closer. Same. Same. Should be. I got nothing. Why do I have nothing? I have a radius of 10. Let's update that to 20. None. Okay. So what am I missing here? There's something I've got to be missing. Did something go enabled? Locator service. I don't have a locate. Was that a mono behavior? Let's test that. Was it static or a mono behavior? That's here. Okay, locator, locator, locator. Okay, locator. It's a static class. It doesn't have a mono behavior. So that one should be available immediately. The only thing that I can think of that, well, let's go over and do a debug and see what the states are. Or put some debug lines in there. Not debug lines, debug logs. All right, car action and car race. Okay, so we do need to check, did we actually get all of the objects to update? So I should get starting positions. Nothing. No race starts have shown up inside of this list. Now, over in the race start, I do have a race start script. Let's go into the code for it. In race start, it does the awake, it does the observe, and when we get the car race, it's supposed to add this to it. Did I ever put that in car race? Car race awake, we set car instance for the car race equals this. That should do everything that I'm expecting it to do. As the awake, let's find out when the awake gets called. Debug.log awake. Car race dot awake. What did I just change? I just put in, did I put in awake? No, awake was already there. I just threw a debug log in. I'm surprised hot reload didn't handle that. Hot reload hasn't started. Okay, that would do it. Clear that one. And now play. Start. Okay, so now at this point, race start is disabled. Race start is disabled. Car, on the other hand, is getting knocked around. Hey, it just stole some freight. Okay. All it had to do was park. So now we have car script, we have car race that's over here. It's set to none. I have one. It showed up. Okay, I have the starting element inside of here. What did I do differently? I put a debug log in there? Okay, so now that I have one, let's see if the rest of the stuff shows up. So I'm gonna, again, I'm set to none. Let's move in. None, none, none. Still none. The vector position should be in here. Start positions is 0. Why is start position 0 if this one got a value? Duh. Yeah, I know exactly why. So down inside of here, where was that? In car race? Car race has the list of race starts in it. Let's go find out what's using it because that other function, race start, we're adding it manually to the list. So no, that's not what we want to do. We created a function to handle this. So what is this? It was like add car or add race start. This. All right, I was missing stuff. Perfect. Also, let's start up hot reload on this one. Start. That should give me some faster starting points. All right, good. Ready, play. Let's see what happens. These two starting lists are empty. However, both of them after start should get set. They did. It got the position. Excellent start. Okay, so now as I get closer to it, that loop check should work. So now here I am, still set to none down in this field. Let's move up a little closer, same, and into it. In range. Okay, that worked. In range, none. In range, none. Okay, now, second thing is when I'm out of it, drop off, can start race is set to null, or set to false. Move in, can start race is set to true. Okay, perfect. Now the action key, what was it? I believe it's enter. Okay, so it's unhappy with something in here. Performed, enter J, null reference. Where was the null reference? Not in any of my code. Null reference over here though. Car reference. Oh, car reference is supposed to know car race. It does not currently know it. So that one is down here. Let's just drag it in for the moment. Make sure that works, and then enter. Okay, we just entered into in race start UI. All right, so the transition system worked inside of here. That's exactly what I was looking for. Now, at this point, nothing is checking on it. Nothing is doing anything else. I need to stop the code. Let's make sure that that value is set. So car race gets referenced across there. Okay, perfect. Now I can escape. Control S twice to save the scene and the project. The items that I just did, I can commit this stuff in now. So do I have there? So now we're going to go, I've got a few new ones. So git add dot git commit dash m quote. Which one is this? What did we just do? We just added race start is in place, comma, but incomplete. It gets to the state for starting the race UI, but there is no race UI yet. All right, that's committing the changes that just went in. I've recently switched over to just starting to use the git commands directly, and once I did that, it got a huge amount easier. Now, I will also say that I was told the exact same thing by a senior developer a long time ago in the past, and when I started to switch over to it, it was a pain in the butt. I found it annoying, and I wanted the UI tools to see it. Now, ultimately, I still want the UI tools to see branching and for merge tools and stuff like that. But for the local Git tools, I just went through kind of a basic list of here's what my core commands are, and I'm using this under the pretense that I'm not working with other people on this. It's just me right now. And so everything in here is just getting committed. I don't have to worry about merging it all. And I am committing it to another folder on another drive on another machine in another building. So that's it. It's just a shared drive to a network somewhere else. But that is committed, so I have the more recent state. I just don't have it committed to the remote drive yet. However, that's in a good working state. So I'm happy with that. I don't have the task done yet. The task still needs more work. So the task, I need to get the UI to show up, and I need to give it the option to be able to switch between start race and end race. And if I start the race, I need the timer to pick up and also set the values for start and end. And that's where I will pick up tomorrow. All right. Talk to everyone later.